Welcome to Connecting Greeks, a streaming comedy show and podcast designed to explore and enhance Greek culture around the world. Join hosts Angelo, Adi, and Foti as they bring you fun and interesting guests from all walks of Greek life. Grab a kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of Connecting Greeks. I am Ari and I'm here with my two guys, my two bros, my two homies, as we used to say back in the day. First up, Foti Stamos. What's up, Foti?
That's a homie.
And speaking about back in the old days, Angelo Tsaroukas. What's up, Angelo?
What the fuck does that mean? Back in the old days. I'm Ari, I'm 14. Here I'm coming to Kologiero do Tsarouka. Back in the old fucking days. What the hell is that supposed to be?
Yeah, Foti gets to make fun of our hair because he has the big pompadour.
Like the old. And speaking of Yeti, let's bring on Tsarouka. How you guys doing? You good?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, that's all right. Good. We're just traveling around, and I miss you guys. I'll say it loosely. I miss you guys. Don't know loosely. I mean, don't get excited. But October, I was in tour in Europe, and through the tours, you meet people, you meet unique people, and I met this gentleman who's a great, one of the finest comedians in Greece. He currently has a show called Ivea Venecho, which means I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. We did a show together in Athens, and I really like this guy's comedy. Welcome to Connecting Greeks, Aristotelis Rigas.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. And for your very flattering words. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great. So just to give the guys background, their stand-up comedy was a movement in Greece, which recently has really taken off. Aristotelis, I call him Adi too, because we got two Adis on the show, so I'll say Aristotelis because there's two of them, is one of the guys that has slugged it out in the Greek stand-up comedy scene. He was doing comedy when it wasn't so popular because, it took time, and now has become one of the premier comedians in Greece. We did a show in Athens, and it was interesting because it was at the Gagarin 205, which is like a legendary rock place. All the big, I think David Gilmour's play there, Nomizo, all those guys.
Wow.
And we collaborated at the end of the show. We did a thing where Adi, because Adi's also a musician, expert ukulele player. So he really puts it in that's on your tagline on your Instagram. But he's a great musician. And we did a country western version of a Greek song, which I just went up. I said the show was done, and I said, just come on stage, Adi, Ella, let's just fuck around. And it was fun. So we made it up on the spot. Nothing was rehearsed or planned. And the audience loved it, So Adi, tell us, Pesmas, when did you start doing comedy in Greece, and how did it all come about?
First gig I ever did was in 2012. It was 12 years ago. And there was no stand-up comedy to mention at the time, because we had a gig a month maybe, and we had 5 or 10 minutes, and there were 10 of us, and we went up in bars and we said, can we use the bar to do a stand-up comedy show? We had no idea, and we played back to back 10 minutes. People were hurting, our jokes were very bad. They had no idea what they were watching. They had never seen stand-up live before in their lives. It was very hard. We were feeling like we were intruding, like people were out there to drink a beer, and we were telling them jokes in their face.
It sounds like you're describing this show right here.
Yeah,
yeah, kind of like that.
But Adi, because 2014, I went to Greece to do this documentary, where it was, back to Sparta. And I did a show at the Kakoyannis Teatro, which we ended up filming and doing it. And I knew then it was still, because Greece was still in crisis, from the economic situation in Greece. And what I realized, and that's why you were part of that movement. How important is it now, stand-up comedy in Greece? Because now it's very popular. There's a lot of guys like yourself, like Hadzi Pavlo, Fisfi, Tsouvelas, all these guys now. The girl, Chrisa, Katerina Vrana, I don't want to forget the women too. But it's funny, how important is it now? Because I think what I saw going back to Greece, because for me, being born outside of Greece, going back, I realized like they needed that. And you guys have been so well received. Like, how important is it now, the movement, stand-up comedy movement in Greece, and now how people are viewing you guys now? It's a different scenario.
It's changed. I mean, I was in the audience at 2014. I was there.
You were there. Okay. Yeah.
I was there. And it's really different now, because now we don't have to explain what we are doing. Like, people come to us, we don't surprise people drinking beers no more. We've had enough of that. So it's something that people need, because they're stressed, because life is very hard in Greece. The economic situation has worsened, and people really receive us very well. They understand that we mean well. We want to make them to laugh and enjoy themselves, and that's very useful. They need it.
Because here's the thing, Adi and Foot. My view of comedy, anywhere, not just Greece, anywhere in the world, it's the last bastion of truth. Mm-hmm. It's got, when you look at media, look at, we just had the American election, and I'm not making it political. I'm just saying, comedians speak from experience, observations, whether it's politics, whether it's economics, whatever. And I think when there's a underbelly of truth with stand-up comedy, because when you go up there, whether the comedian's talking about his family, whether he's talking, the situation could be anything, like a situation where you're traveling, or going to a Greek wedding, a Greek funeral, that doesn't matter. But I think now what I saw, and it makes me happy, because there's a great movement in Greece. And this is what's funny about it. If you really look at the origins of stand-up comedy, it started really in the Agora in Greece. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the idea of people orating to people, if you think about it. But I think
we do have that. We do have a very, very long tradition of people that like to talk and talk and talk. We have that.
Yeah, the orating. I'm not saying they're funny, because you ever go to those church things? Πρόεδρος Αρκαδία, ήρθα στην Αμερική το 59 με $2 στη τσέπη μου και μια κατσίκα και ξέρεις, ήταν δύσκολο η ζωή μου. And he'll fucking talk for 4 hours. Like, let's start the party here,
Yeah, it's just every family dinner, like every family, we end up talking one on top of the other, just to be able to talk. There's no way you can interrupt the other person. You can't do that. So we end up talking all at the same time.
Angelo, you mentioned something I just wanted to kind of add to. Without making it political, I do really believe that comedians are like a very important source of information, because, there's right-wing media, there's left-wing media, there's people's biases all over the place, but not every time, but most of the time when there's like a well-known comedian who just wants to be funny, he'll basically take what's going on, give it the real, story, but have his funny spin on it. And I fully believe, there's a lot of good information coming out of comedy and comedians, and that they have a platform, they have an audience, and I think it's important, and I'm glad they do it.
What do you think, Adi? Aristotelis, because it's funny. You see, when I go to Greece, my perspective, and the Greeks know this, is I was born in Canada and I live in America. And now I go to Greece, so they see us. They understand now, more so with the internet, that, okay, these are our cousin, I'm their cousin, their brother from another place. We're connected. Ironically, connecting Greeks, connected, but at the same time, they know the differences, that we didn't grow up. We had to go to school and work English. Alastospiti, che se ecclesia pupiana me piopoli, which we go to more now, I think, than they even do in Greece, I don't think. but we speak Greek. So, Aristotelis, our parents would send us to Greek school every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go to Greece. They said, we didn't know. That's why I made the joke that we sound like we're special needs when we go to Greece, because you guys look at us going, Thelis, Pame, Volta, Metan, nah. Yes. I mean, but they understand that. But it's the same now. But I think now, for comedians as yourself and others coming now, there's an appreciation now coming to maybe Canada, America, and even Australia, because I think now I think because of the internet, we're closer. Like what we're doing today, the whole world's going to see this podcast, and people are going to know you even more, even us at the same time. And the thing is, I always try to tell people, I say, the importance of comedy. It breaks down. You could have the worst day of your life. Your boss is an asshole. And like you said, you go now, instead of interrupting them while they're drinking a beer, you're entertaining them while they're having a beer.
Me now. Now they're coming to me of their own will, they're coming to me.
Right.
But comedy is very important for many reasons. One is one of the few things that we have that we can use to punch up. We cannot do that with anymore. It's not easy. It's a very, very unique thing with comedy, that you can go on stage and you're just a regular person like everybody else there. You don't go on stage with your money or your cars or your success, just you, and with a mic and your thoughts and your feelings, and you can express things that are larger than you, and you can take a stand and basically you're revealing yourself. What we are doing is we are revealing ourselves. We think we're hiding, but we cannot hide. We are who we are to the core of our personality. So that shows on stage, and who you are is you're transmitting that to an audience that would far exceed anything that we could do in the past. Like one guy with a microphone can say things that maybe could make somebody in the audience think something that they have not thought. It's very, very important. It's very important.
Exactly. No, you know what, Aristotelis, you hit it right, as they say, the nail right on the head. It's perfectly, because it's true. And a lot of times I think comedy is undervalued, because I know sometimes people are like, well, the first thing they say is the guy, is he or she funny? And then you go, well, you got to go see the show. And sometimes there's nights where people go to develop comedy. Like there's off nights, like Triti Tetarti. If it's an off night, you may go to like a bar or a pub and say, I'm going to try these jokes, or something happened, something happened that week. To give an example, right now, Aristotelis, I'm working on a cruise ship and I'm in Roatan, Honduras.
Okay.
So I'm doing shows here. Because the show, I came on Saturday, one show, and my next show's Friday.
Okay.
So I got 5 days to do basically nothing. I've run out of people to masturbate to. That's how bad it is.
Angela, have you met any Greeks in Honduras yet?
Greeks, Greek. So we got to let this is, and I wanted to tell you this, Aristotelis. We got a notice from the cruise line suggesting to the comedians, please do not talk about politics because, right, it's a very sore thing. Now, I understand it's not like a regular comedy club where you're expressing it openly, so Thelis, although it's a selected audience and they paid money to be on a cruise. But I found it interesting. I won't call it censoring, but they strongly suggest don't talk about politics because right now it's a sore topic. And for me, I want to ask all of you this question.
Yeah, definitely.
I said, I think stand-up comedy, as a comedian, you should be allowed to say whatever you want. Now, having said that, there are consequences sometimes, and we've seen it in the past. How do you think right now, Aristotelis in Greece? Because I know the Greeks they're more open about stuff when you're talking to them about it. Here, Akoma, even though it's open, you got to know your audience, right? How do you find it in Greece, like talking about certain topics?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge conversation about if there's a woke agenda that is interfering and how political correctness has put boundaries in what you can say and what you can't. And actually, talking about me, I never had any trouble with that. I mean, being politically correct has never crossed my mind because actually the first thing that I want is not to be. Can I speak openly?
Right.
Can I say? I mean, my main concern is avoiding to be an asshole on stage. That's about it.
Yeah.
That must be. Is that hard to do?
I mean, it's something. It can be hard if you haven't learned that in in elementary school. You have to be able to do that by then. To be a good boy, not be a bully on stage, not picking on a poor audience member and turning a crowd against one person. It's very, very easy to avoid. Like, don't do it. Okay.
Yeah, because you see, for me right now, Aristotelis, because I know you do it also in your act, we were talking more about our family now. Like, and we were saying earlier with families, when you get together, is talking. And I think comedians go through stages when you're single. You're talking about chasing women and going out, getting drunk and getting high. And then later on, academia, if I'm in school, is that. Then you get married or you're in a relationship. It's a different set of circumstances. Then divorce. Like, the comedians can fit in every different type of category, you know? And I find it interesting that for myself, I'm speaking now, I think lately my comedy is a little bit more about my family. You know, I'm talking more about, traveling in my family because now my daughter's getting older and now I see that she's like her mother, every day it's not like Kalimera. It's like, I need this, I need that. I go, oh, Kalimera. What the fuck's going on here? And my daughter goes, Dad, I sent you. My daughter goes, Dad, I sent you the link on Amazon. She goes, all you have to do is click yes. I go, oh, no good morning. She goes, I really need this thing. And I think by me telling you guys that story, I think a lot of other people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But so did you already go to Scandinavia, Aristotelis, or you're going?
No, I'm going in January.
You're going in January. So I know you're going to Gothenburg, Helsinki, Copenhagen, and Stockholm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be nice. So it's interesting. That's a great tour. I did part of that. And it's funny now how Greeks have migrated through Europe.
Yeah.
Because of the EU, they're working in Germany and Finland and Stockholm. So do you find now by you going there, would it be almost the same type of show that you're doing in Greece? But are you, or like me, are you changing it a little bit because you're in another country now?
What happens now is this because I find in Europe, particularly, people about my age that have left Greece and maybe like have left Greece like a couple of years ago. That's very young immigrants, very young there.
Right.
So we have this, we share the same culture, the same language, the same civilization. And I do shows. I did a show in Brussels that would be like a show that I would do in Athens. At the same thing, the same reaction, the same exactly checkpoints in the text that they hit. It's everything that I would expect from an audience in Greece.
That's awesome.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, very few times have I ever encountered an audience that are people. I went in Bayern, in Munich,
in Germany.
I did a show there, and people there have left Greece in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s, and I felt that it felt like I was talking like Finnish to them.
Yeah, because see that was my fear going to Greece, because I realized, okay, they've seen the videos, but they kind of get the character. But I noticed in Europe, because you're right, it's a closer demographic, and they have like my father, most of our parents came to America and Canada in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So the comedy that we would find funny in North America is different than what the Greeks find funny in Greece, although they understand it. They understand it, but I think you made a good point in the translation.
No, I mean Greeks they love American comedy because whatever happens in America, we know that we're on that. At the moment it's out there, we know that. We know all the brand new comics. We know them. So when you come to Greece, what you represent is one of us that made it. You made it. You're there.
That's interesting.
So the reaction is that we love and admire you, like you're one of us and you're over there. So what we see is a Greek comedian that's living off in the American comedy scene, and that's wonderful because we already know American comedy.
True that, because you see, the thing. Adding to what you're saying, Adi, the one thing I like about Greek audiences, well informed, read, and educated. I mean, it's interesting because I can tell you how many tuvla I do shows for here. And I'll mention things like Canada, like where? We're not here. Here's Canada. Here's America. It happened to me the other day. The lady after the show said she saw my name Tsaroukas. She goes, Tsaroukas, is that Russian? I get it. I said, no, it's not Russian. It's Greek. And she goes, well, where's that? I go, in Greece. And I'm not kidding you. She goes to me, is that like South America?
Kind of.
Like,
maybe she had a little too much.
America.
Maybe she had a little too much to drink.
No, she didn't. She's a tuvla. I hate when people say Vic Sarone, but 40, they do. I tell them I'm from Canada. They don't have a fucking clue. Half of Canada. They think Edmonton and Montreal's beside each other. So it's funny. What I like about Greek audiences, and I've seen it firsthand, very informed. They do know what's going on in America. They know they still read newspapers in Greece. The audiences are extremely intelligent. And I found that to be a plus. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying audiences are stupid around the world, but I just find some places you go to, they're not as informed as other places. So like, and you can see, because a joke works if they know the culture of the joke. But if I'm saying, so I was in Ottawa, Canada, so Kefalitus, they're like, oh, fuck, where's that? So they missed the joke.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So that's why I like, Adi made a good point that the fact that you can go to Belgium and do the show, and it's just like being in Athens because there's a connection, there's an information highway that's going on. But I think let me ask you this, Aristotelis. Are these things making us dumber in the world? we have more information here, and you can Google they don't do it. What do you think?
I think that because of these things, you can talk to me being in Honduras right now, and me having my children asleep in the next room. So I'm not going to blame them.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I like them, but generally speaking, we do have a very great problem there.
Yeah, because look, I see it at the shows. I'll be doing my jokes, and this is what I see, guys. This is what I see.
That's so dumb.
Put the fucking phone down.
Yeah, well, that's a universal problem, Angelo. You know,
yeah, nobody's in the moment. There's nobody in the moment. All they do is record for later. It's like be in the moment.
Yeah.
Like
this
we're not.
Life.
We're more connected. Aristotelis made a good point. We're more connected, yet so disconnected. Because it's like, I'm on the, I got a text.
Yeah.
You can't fucking wait for the show to finish.
We do have like an attention deficit disorder that is built through the cell phones. It's coming to us. We have many things that are trying to grab our attention at all the time. So we get tired, we have short attention spans, and people they feel, I mean, what we do, what you do, Angelo, what the comedians do, that's a feat, really, a very hard thing to do, like to make people put away their phones for an hour and a half. It's very, very hard to make them, to bring them to the here and now and talk to them directly and then entertain them, connect with them. It's very, very hard.
Look at my co-hosts.
Well,
I can barely talk to these guys.
Well, that's because I keep looking at this. You know, I don't put the phone
down. You know, Forty, it's true. I got my friend. He goes, "Oh, hold on, I got to check. What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm on my phone." You have a phone here, and Malaka, you need one on here now. Like
you want to hear?
Now they have the glasses.
You want to hear something scary? You want to hear something scary, guys?
Yeah.
We don't even have a full generation yet that grew up with phones and tablets. We're still people who knew life without it. Think about the kids who never knew life without it, what they're going to be like. You're not going to be able to have one conversation with these people. And you guys are comedians, so you're going to have to up your game to get these people to listen and to understand and to pay attention. It's sad.
Hey, that's a good point, because our kids' generation will never know anything without the internet. Even your kids, they don't know. What it was like to go outside and play. They don't know that.
They don't know what it means to without a screen, life without a screen. That's a very, very alien concept.
But in fairness to the kids, there's a lot of adults that have more ADD than the children.
Yeah.
Like, I'll talk to my wife and I go, she goes, "What?" I go, I was asking you something. "Oh, I was watching this little puppy. This little puppy." I go, she goes, "Look," she goes, "Honey," she calls me up. She goes, "I want a baby donkey." My wife wants a baby hippopotamus, a baby donkey, and a baby giraffe in our backyard.
Yeah, I cannot compete with that. I mean, a baby giraffe is so much cuter than me.
Oh, man. I got a question for Aristotelis. Besides, Angel being your favorite comic in America, do you have any other favorite comics that you can speak of that you enjoy or get inspiration from?
I'm not actually a comedy nerd, because I came into comedy when I was already a 35-year-old adult, so I was fully formed by the time, and then I had to have a day job, and then I had a family, and I went and had 2 children, and so really I don't have the time to watch comedy as much as I would like to. But all the classics are my influences, and I very much like Wright.
Stephen Wright,
Yeah,
Boston guy.
yeah, the
yeah.
one-liner.
Right?
Yeah,
Stephen Wright, yeah.
Oh, he was awesome.
He's awesome.
He maybe is my favorite comic of all time. Maybe.
Yeah. I agree. He's
Yeah,
right.
he's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, I think he's really, really brilliant. I mean, I have never seen any comedian have a set of one-liners that are all 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. That's one after the other, not not a mediocre joke, like never,
Mm.
like never.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Nice.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
Angela, when you sent us the message about having Aristotelis on the show, comic in Greece and so forth, for a second I reflected back and just thinking about when we were growing up as kids in America, and our parents being first generation, and our parents, the only access they had to Greek entertainment was the VHSs, or if someone came to sell videos. And outside of the movies, the classic movies, or the classic comics in movies like Vegos, or the other funny gentleman,
Salties.
Saldis. There was also the stand-up comic Harry Clean, right? Back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I remembered when you had sent over the information to get Aristotelis on that. Looking back, like, wow, I don't think I know anyone other than Harry Clean since then.
Yeah, it's a very, very small scene. It's very,
Yeah,
very
it's not.
small.
It's funny because because don't forget, during the junta in Greece, Harry Clean moved to Montreal. He had to leave Greece and then go back. So that was all part of the whole. It's a very interesting story about him, and we grew up listening to them, and now the whole scene's changed. Aristotelis, what do you got coming up? We can tell people what's going on, and what do you got coming up for in your shows?
I'm having this new show that's this is the first year. That's called I Have No Idea. You mentioned it,
Yeah,
and I'm doing this show every Wednesday in Athens, in Exarchia, and then I'm doing a tour or two outside of Athens every month.
nice.
So
Because you go to like Trikala, and you basically go all over Greece, right?
yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. That's great.
And I'm in Scandinavia in January, and that's how it's going to play out to until April or May. That's the time the weather gets hot for people to go indoors and watch comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, and you got like now, if I'm not mistaken, you have a radio show in Athens, or a podcast, or you're a guest on.
I have a podcast that's called I'm in Favor, generally speaking. But it's
Okay.
the concept is it's a topical podcast that I do once a week with a piece of news of the week.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So I take one piece of news of the week that I'm against, really, that I don't like. And I ironically say that I'm in favor, that I think the idea is wonderful. Like,
that's cool. I like that. That's great. And so your podcast is called I'm in Favor. Στα ελληνικά, πώς το λέτε?
Είμαι υπέρ.
Well, that's wonderful, man. I hope the guys have anything else, man.
No, this is great. This is great. I mean,
I'm so happy, Aristotelis, you took the time to be on the Connecting Greeks.
No,
You're
let
a
me tell
wonderful
you.
man. You're a great comedian. I enjoyed working with you, and the world's going to get to know you a little bit better right now.
I have to say this, Angelo, that I really what Angelo did was I have to tell the world now. I'm talking to every listener globally now. I'm going to talk about Angelo. So Angelo made me the great honor of inviting me to be the opening act of his show, and I went there. I opened the show. The show was amazing. It was so funny. So what happened is, like, I'm doing comedy for 12 years now. It's very rare, in very rare occasions, that the headliner, the person you're opening the show for, mentions you at the end of the show. It's very, very rare. But what Angelo did was unprecedented. I've never felt, I've never experienced anything like this in my whole life. He brought me on in the very end with him to do something together on stage, improvisational, together. And it was so funny. It was so, he welcomed me so heartfeltly. And it really moved me. And I would really like to publicly thank you for that honor.
Well, it was my honor because
it was very nice. I really, 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 really thank you so much for it.
No, you're welcome. Look, I like what you did, and with the guitar, I thought, let's collaborate. So I said, let's bring them on the end, because I mean, they got their show, and I said to the audience, I want to try something with Adi here, because I mean, the whole idea is it's comedy, you got to be on it, but you want to have fun. We had fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun,
and the crowd loved it. They're like, "Oh shit, we didn't expect this." Let's have some fun with it, And we got to do it again for sure. That's very kind of you. Thanks, Aristotelis.
I mean it really from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, and you're welcome. I mean, of course, you are welcome in Greece, but we can do anything you want anytime.
That's awesome. It's nice to have people appreciate you, unlike some of the people I work with here.
I'm sure you're appreciated globally.
Tell my wife that.
Anyway. But a baby giraffe is a baby giraffe, man. I'm sorry.
That was great.
Ευχαριστώ, Aristotelis, for coming. Thank you so much, buddy, for coming to the show today. And
thank you.
I want to say again, thanks for taking the time, Aristotelis. Thank you so much, Foti. Angelo, as always, we love seeing you. Get out of Honduras as soon as you can and get back here so we can do more stuff. And everybody out there watching and listening, check out Aristotelis' stuff. We'll have links in the notes. Listen, watch, whatever it is, support. We're here connecting Greeks to support each other. So support Aristotelis, support Angelo, support everybody. And thank you guys once again.
Keep laughing. We got to laugh.
That's it. Thank you guys. We'll see you all next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.